So I kick ass in career, I'm maybe a star athlete. I did really well in school. And so this shooting perfection and always hitting that next goal has brought a lot of success in the world in these other ways. But then when I turn toward my woman, I feel unsure about myself. I feel shame in this way. And that perfectionist goal or attitude isn't working. What are the why isn't that working? Or like, what's going on here?
You could be a kick-ass person in the world and never show your emotions, and never have emotions. In fact, a lot of times in the business world, the less emotional you are, the better you're going to do. I mean, that the whole idea of it's not personal. This is just business, type world. And sports and all that kind of stuff in school and later on in life are purely based on competition. I win, they lose. In relationship, we're not in that I win mode. In relationship, we're in we win. And all of a sudden, you have to have another person to consider who is so much different than you, who is flowing in emotions, who's even if she's a high-powered, successful businesswoman, she still pops once in a while with all these emotions and all this kind of stuff. And it's a completely different world. I mean, it's not the business world. Even though you try to make it so, and then you just minimize her feelings, so she gets harder and harder and harder. And next thing you know, you got two men in a relationship. One has to win. If you get two men in a situation, they will form a hierarchy immediately. And so in your relationship, all of a sudden you have a hierarchy.
That's a really great point. I hadn't thought about it that I remember you saying that before, and I love your insight. That if you treat her like a man, try to fix her, use challenge, right, make her emotions small, then all of a sudden it's two men in a relationship and it's a win-lose. You're bringing a win-lose. So she wants to win. She's all of a sudden going to want to win, and no longer there's no longer a relationship there. Relationship's dead, and she wants to win. Yeah,
you would be surprised. You'd be surprised how many, especially these high-powered business women, ball busters in the business world, talk to me about relationship like this would all be fixed. This is going to sound very familiar. It would all be fixed if you just stop trying to compete with me all the time. Does that not sound exactly like the guy saying, if she would just be nicer to me and suck my dick once in a while, we'd be all good? She has really, really turned into a man. It's all based on a comparison, on win-lose, on she can't see past the fact that she might have some issues here. And she's never wrong about anything. Believe me, I've had fights with clients to try to get them into an emotional space enough to where they can admit that they actually were a part of this, and say, well, it's all the masculine energy you're bringing to a relationship that's forming this. So one of you has to win. I mean, you're two cocks in the ring. One of you is going to get bloody.
Jason, I would love for you to, I've asked you about this personally and professionally, about how you lead a woman to more emotion. And often that's through the gateway of anger. And now that's obviously you're a professional, and don't try this at home unless you're Jason Bradbury.
How do I say this? To break a woman out of this feeling, like, again, if she's collapsed to the point where she doesn't feel anything anymore, she has numbed herself to everything remotely having to do with pleasure, with anything else in her body, because she wants to feel safe. She's attached herself to a bunch of feelings, and she's not letting feelings flow. A woman has to let feelings come in and flow through her at will. That's the state of femininity that's beautiful. That's why an angry woman sometimes can be really sexy. It's just emotions coming in and out and flowing in and out. But when she traps them inside on that basis of, I have to be perfect and I have to win in this relationship, she gets so closed off that she can't feel anything. And it is horrifying. It is a horrifying feeling. That's why a lot of women will blame the relationship on their affairs that they had. I did this to feel something because I was trapped in this horrible relationship, and I'm the victim here. I did something to try to save the marriage by feeling something again. To men,
Yeah.
that just sounds fucked up, but
Yeah.
that's what happens. So what I do is I get them to feel something, anything. Whether it's, sometimes I'll work with, talking about their children for an entire hour and a half and trying to get them into a feeling space around their children. And sometimes that doesn't work. And so basically I have to get in a fight with them. And I've practiced enough being holding a container for a woman in an argument and in a fight where it always is going to turn out on the other end with more um it's kind of weird to say attraction, but there's going to be a polarity between us.
Yeah.
But as coach and her. Yeah.
Like, again, don't try this at home unless you're a fucking ninja level like Jason Bradbury. Like, that is a beautiful primer for, for you to teach more about that. Because of course the man has got a whole bag of stuff. He's not able to be that grounded space for her. He's not able to be the container until he's done this work. There's many men that have done one-on-ones with us or in the small group relaunch that after 12 months or 6 months, they're able to do that. That's where we're taking you as men, is able to do that. But if you haven't been doing this work for basically at least 6 months, or if you have a coach like me or Jason, right, or if you're not in one of our groups, then this is going to be advanced level stuff.